Week 3 is in the history books, and that's a good thing because it was a rough week 3 for me. We are moving on to week 4, talking about the Thursday night game here on the Statement Games podcast. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Joel Worth. That is Marc Salino, founder of Statement Games. Marc, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm recovering. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I had a very
So
rough
now you know
week
how it
3.
feels, huh?
Yeah.
To
Between the
live with
Packers losing
disappointment.
between the Packers losing and CeeDee Lamb having to play running back and getting hurt with 0 fantasy points and like single-handedly destroying my DFS week, it was a rough week 3 for me. I'm ready. I need like a time machine or like one of those Men in Black pens that just erases your memory, so I can just because I need to flush week 3 and
You
move on
kind
to
of
week
have those
4.
feelings when you're feeling like you're on a roll, and then it's almost as
Exactly.
if the football gods bring you right back down to reality and let you, or just remind you that you're just a mere mortal, just like everybody else.
Yeah, I like football and like fantasy football and fantasy sports in general. Like I compare it to golf because like the endeavor is just so difficult and that's what makes it fun when you nail it. But when you think you've got it right and you're not, that's when it's just the most painful.
Especially when you have like a strong feeling or a strong take on a specific game or on your lineup or on some picks, and then you just completely whiff. There's not a worse feeling in the world.
Especially for factors that are beyond your control, right? It's like I
Correct.
had CeeDee Lamb in all my DFS lineups, and Brian Schottenheimer, in his infinite wisdom, decides to put him in at running back. He gets hurt on a
I'm always
carry.
cautious on shows like this, but I was actually talking to somebody, one of my friends over like the weekends, like just once in my life, I want to kind of like be able to talk so much crap or shit, and then actually have it come true, so that you can kind of capitalize on it. But it's
Yeah,
almost like you kind of get part of it right, but there's always that whatever. I guess if we were right all the time, we'd be doing other things, but besides record this
exactly.
podcast, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I'd be dabbling in the stock market. You got that right.
Yeah, right.
We should talk about you've got a new quarterback. It was just announced today. How does that feel? That's got to feel.
I don't
It's a, I
care.
don't know if are
I'm
congratulations in order or it just can't be
I
worse.
guess, you know. Well, it's kind of at a point. Not that we want to spend too much time with the Giants, because I actually have a game against the Eagles coming up on a Thursday night, which we'll kind of talk about.
There we go.
But I'm at a point in where if I'm looking at this quarterback, I really am leaning more towards getting rid of everybody. And by starting this quarterback now, as opposed to later in the season, the GM and the coach don't have any excuse, or they can't fire a bullet like, hey, you know what? We've only had him for 3 or 4 weeks. We've seen some good things on film, and we deserve like an extra year. No, let's get a
Right.
full year, kind of on film, kind of right now. And if this kid's got the goods, so be it. But if it's going to be a little bit of a rough patch, like I expect it to be, let's let the next regime make the decision on whether they want to roll with this kid or go in a different direction.
I think that is exactly the right attitude to have. Make sure that you know what you've got, and if you need to have a full house clean, you need to have a full house clean.
Very good.
All right, let's move on to week 4, Thursday night. Last week, I think we both split our picks.
We did. I
So
know I
we're
lucked out with the Bills. I mean, we had, I thought, some traditional lines at 12 and a half. Our line was at 8.5, and I wound up kind of sneaking out some late second kind of points to cover kind of our line by 10. So I'll take. Hey, you take the W's
sure,
any way you
exactly,
can get them.
exactly. Yeah, kind of. I don't know if it was a weird game, but it was a very close game until that roughing the punter kick or penalty, and that kind of flipped
Tight
things
game,
on.
actually, not a bad game at all. Pretty
Oh no,
competitive
not at all.
game, which
Yep.
usually you kind of expect divisional games to go, but for some reason I saw such a discrepancy in the line that I jumped on the other way. But
Yeah,
yeah, I kind of usually like taking the underdog, especially in divisional games when you expect both teams to know one another fairly well, like this game coming up.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, but yeah, it's a very weird situation where you have that much of a line movement in 4 days. Like the line came out late Sunday afternoon,
Correct.
was at 8.5. And then by the time we did the show, it was already
Correct.
a couple of days later, was already up to 12, 12.5, 13, whatever it was. So yeah, very unusual situation there. But like you said, we've got another division game. We've got Seattle and Arizona. What are you thinking for your first pick for this one?
You know what? My first pick, I was taking a look at the box scores as well as a lot of the extensive highlights of the 49ers and the Cardinals game last week. And I'm kind of getting impressed. Not that I haven't been in the past, but this Kyler Murray guy is kind of just he grows on me just more and more. I guess being out on the East Coast, I don't get to kind of lock in on a lot of the West Coast games. Now, statistically, I didn't see Kyler Murray put up like a lot of big numbers, but what I did see, including one from Harrison Connecticut Jr., I counted like at least three big drops in that game
Yeah,
by
yeah.
Cardinals wide receivers that completely botched that game for them. But that might be a little bit of a different story for a different day. So for my first pick, I'm looking at 215 Kyler Murray passing yards. To me, that looks extremely low. And I don't know. I kind of like buy into like a little bit of a theory in where when you have teams that are like in middle of the road, sometimes you find that they don't put up like a lot of points next week, and it's like the complete opposite the following week. So I'm riding Kyler Murray over 215 points. I'm not sure if that gives you that much of a in-depth analytical explanation as to why I'm making the pick that I just made, but I'm not an expert. I'm just having a little fun with this. I also get an opportunity to demonstrate my technology. So for my pick, I'm simply going with Kyler Murray over 215 yards passing. I expect Harrison Jr. to bounce back and help him out in covering a big chunk of those yards on two or three plays.
Yeah, he had some brutal drops in that game against San Francisco on Sunday. Also, they lost James Conner, right? He's out for the year, had
Correct.
that
Yeah.
pretty bad ankle injury. So they're really down to is it Trey Benson and Amari DiMercado now. So you think they're probably going to up the pass game volume. We'll see if that's a good thing with Drew Petzing. He's not necessarily been historically a good pass game designer, but we'll see how that goes. Mine first pick, I'm going to take the layup here.
Be careful. Be careful calling
Yeah,
something a layup.
that's true, but I'm going to take JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, over 79.5 receiving yards. This dude's just, I mean, his target share is just absolutely astronomical. It's just like before
I was
this,
watching. Yeah, I mean,
44% target share is just unbelievable.
just touching
Hasn't been
on
below
that real
94
quick.
yards
I mean, do
receiving.
you think he's like that good, or do the Saints just absolutely much worse than the Giants?
I think the Saints are bad, but I also think JSN is very
Okay.
that good. And I think like Sam Darnold is PFF's highest graded quarterback to this point after 3 weeks, and it's just the guy he's dialed in on. He's just their best receiver by far, and I think that's kind of what he does. Right? He's not the super prototype Marvin Harrison Jr. type that's going to go in and dominate jump balls or stuff like that. That the dude's just going to get open over the middle and find holes and zones and stuff, and he's he's just going to make a bunch of catches. That's the kind of guy he is. He's more of a Chris Godwin type than a Mike Evans type, but I think 79.5 receiving yards should be pretty easy when he hasn't gone below 94 this year.
Fair enough.
I think I got like a 15-yard cushion there. So yeah, and the Cardinals' pass defense has been pretty good, but they're a little banged up on the secondary. So I feel good about that. I feel good about that one.
Yeah, that was actually. I mean, the more that I was like watching that, that just seemed like a tough game, that 49ers Cardinals game. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I was a little impressed with the Cardinals defense as well as the 49ers defense. But then again, I didn't see 44 points coming from Seattle last week. I understand they got the big kind of punt return, which
yeah.
was a pretty fun play to kind of watch. I guess overall, week 3 was a little crazy. Last second kind
Crazy
of
on the special
field
team side,
goals,
yeah, for sure.
blocked field goals, returned for touchdowns. It just That's why you always kind of tread with caution when you're making with these picks and not doing what I was kind of talking about before by talking a whole bunch of smack, because I would have been jumping up and down, specifically when like the look as a Giants fan, and you see the Rams up by 19 points against the Eagles. The Eagles can't
Right.
do a lick in the first half, and then they come out and they look like they're you know world beaters, which they are.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. Pains me to say it, but they are. But yeah, that was, I don't know, just overall a pretty fun week of football this week, although it was painful in many ways as well.
Yes, very, very, very painful, especially for us Packer fans. All right, on to your second pick for the Thursday night game.
Yeah, I'm seeing like the same thing over here, and I just think it's a big time kind of flaw in the system, and where it's early in the season, we're still figuring things out. But if you jump into the defensive category, um, I'm looking at Seattle over 4.5. I'm sorry, under 4.5 sacks. I'll take that all day long.
Okay. Yeah, especially against a mobile quarterback like Kyler Murray. I think that's probably a
Yeah,
good call. 4.5 is a big number.
yeah.
That's yeah, that does seem like a lot. Kyler Murray, very
Basically means they went crazy in one of the first couple of weeks over here. When you basically work out some AI stuff combined with some averages, it's
sure.
just it hasn't evened itself out. But I'll take
I
it.
would guess that was probably well. They played the Saints in Carolina their first 2 weeks, so yeah,
There
I
you
can see
go.
that. Yeah, I'm sure they probably had quite a few sacks in those two games. Um, for my second pick, I'm going to take the Cardinals under 22 and a half. We've talked about how these division games can get kind of tough. Like the game last on Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers was 16-15. Cardinals have not scored over 20 offensive points yet. They scored 20 points week one. They scored 27 week two, but that included a defensive touchdown. And then 15 last week against the 49ers. Short week, I think, favors the unders. And I think Seattle's defense is just very good. So I'm going to take the Cardinals. And again, you're missing James Conner, so you've got to kind of adjust on the fly your running game. So I think this could be a little bit of a. I think this game's going to be a little bit of a slog, like Thursday night games tend to be. So I'm going to take the Cardinals under 22 and a half.
That's fair enough. Who do you like in the game?
It's hard for me
I'll
to.
put you on the spot.
I think Seattle's the better team, but again, just going, going on the road on a Thursday night division game, always tough. I just think it's going to be a low scoring game, probably a one score game, and it may come down to a last second field goal or something like that. So, I think it's going to
Yeah,
be a
for
very
some
very close
reason,
game.
it's not that I like the Cardinals to win the game. It's more from perspective. I'm rooting for the Cardinals. So yeah, if I had to
There
kind
you
of
go.
pick good gun to my head, Thursday night game, short week. I think you always have to lean a little bit more towards the home team. But then again, these divisional games, especially that division, is
Right. That
it's
division is
looking
just so
competitive.
crazy. I mean, you look at the games like the 49ers lost a couple of games last week or last year that we never thought they
Last
would have
year.
lost. Obviously, they had injury issues, but yeah, the NFC West always things always kind of play out differently than you expect in that division. So
Yeah, they'll
would not
play well
surprise me either way.
defensively. I like
Yep.
how Salah is back as a defensive coordinator in that environment. I just I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm East Coast and I've seen him kind of play a lot, and I'm just not an Alabama fan at all. I just don't trust Mac Jones. So if I take a look at the quarterbacks,
Well, now he's hurt too now. So if Purdy's not ready to go, they may not have a quarterback this week.
I wasn't expecting Purdy to to be there at all this week, but
Yeah, I think we
I'll,
have to see how that plays out.
I guess we'll have to pay attention, see how that plays out. So yeah, I will ride the Cardinals, but yeah. So I guess if you want to make that as my unofficial 2.5 pick, I'll do that. We'll just have some fun with it, and where you're going one way, I'm going the other. This way, there's no more ties.
So you're taking Cardinals over 1.5.
Correct.
Okay, I got you. That's fair. Yeah, I could see this game going either way. I just think it's going to be low scoring. So I like the Cardinals team total under, and I would probably take the under. It's a low total, but I think I would probably take the under. You got two defensive head coaches. I think this is a game that's going to steer toward the defense a little bit, even
Okay.
though both of our first picks were offensive players going over their totals.
Yeah, yeah.
But they were pretty low totals, so I'm not too worried about that. All right, that's it for our Thursday night preview. Mark, let everybody know what you got going on. Anything new coming down with the site, and where people can find you.
We're still testing out a couple of different things. The one big thing that we're working on this week is making sure that the notifications letting people know that when you play a game, hey, you know what, the game is over, check out your scoring, everything is kind of like, in line. So still need a couple more tests to go ahead and make sure that that little widget or thing has been ironed out kind of completely. But other than that, again, hopefully we'll be making some other announcements this upcoming week. I would say that we're still hungry to try and get a couple of additional demo testers into that demo.statementgames.com environment. Click a couple different buttons and play some games. So I'll make an offer. If you subscribe to the channel and play that Thursday night game, if you go 9 for 10 with your picks, and you DM me privately with what your PayPal or Venmo account is, I'll send you $100.
Very nice. That's awesome. So yeah, you get the address is demo.statementgames.com. You can DM Mark at Mark Salino. I think
There
that's
you
an
go.
awesome offer. Yeah, and we
You got to
is
subscribe
you
to
on
this channel as well and give the little
for
video
sure,
a
for sure.
thumbs up. The typical stuff that you have all these guys tell you to do. I love the guys who are like, oh, you know what? 90% of you who watch this video aren't subscribers to the channel. I think they're just making that stuff up, but it sounds really cool, so I'll say the same thing.
There you go. Yeah, so we want to get as many demo testers on here as we can. We want to, this is like testing. My job is testing, and we want to test. We want to test stuff. We want to break stuff. If we're going to break it, we want to break it. We want to break it now. So we want to get as many demo testers, as many players into the forum as we can, and get everything going there. So yeah, that's Mark Salino. You can find him at Mark Salino. I'm Joel Worth, the Joel Worth on the Twitter and the Blue Sky. You can find me either place. Thanks for checking out the show. Good luck in week 4. Hopefully week 4 turns out better than week 3. And we will see you next week.